Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון, ממלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Bachuni לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון, ממלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seitchem לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון, ממלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Well, Shabbat Shalom, everybody. It is so nice to be hanging out with you on this fine Shabbat evening, on this winter Shabbat evening. It is about 72 degrees, so I'd say that's Florida winter, I'd say. So hope that you're all, hope that you're in front of your fireplace and have your hot cocoa. I don't know. You know how sometimes you meet someone at a party, or you see someone and you realize that you're dressed the same, and you're like, oh my gosh, I had no idea. So we didn't even plan this, but we have these very forested themes today in our background. So we hope that you'll feel a serenity from our backgrounds. So I have to give full credit to.
Yeah. It looks like both of our suns are setting too, which is perfect.
Yeah, it's nice. It's kind of, we're letting go of the week, moving into Shabbat. It's very nice. I have to give credit. Ken Muchnick had it up first. Then I thought I should put my sort of foresty theme up as well. So you get full credit. But we do hope that you were able to sort of exhale your week and enter Shabbat peacefully and majestically, and know that very soon we will be engaging with our Shabbat bride when we start our Kabbalat Shabbat service, and you'll have this extra soul, they say in our Jewish text, joins us and spends these 25 hours with us, so that the food tastes better and the rest feels better and our study feels better and our family time feels closer. And so we hope that the Shabbatiness will be filling all of your houses as we move into our Shabbat service. So we are going to continue with the lighting of Shabbat candles. If you have a prayer book, fabulous. If you don't, you can get a virtual one, cbiboca.org. And you'll navigate to that website, find the button that says worship at the top of the page. Once you hit worship, you'll see Shabbat. Hit Shabbat, scroll down a little bit, and then there'll be a link that says virtual prayer book. Pick the Shabbat one, because there's also one for a weekday. Pick the Shabbat one, and our pages will be matching up. So you can also be fully praying along with us throughout our 3-hour service this evening. No, I'm just kidding. So once again, we'll be continuing with our lighting of Shabbat candles to officially bring in the Shabbat into our midst. We're on page 2.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam אשר קידשנו במצוותיו וציוונו להדליק נר של שבת.
Our candles are lit, and so Shabbat is now officially in our midst. Yay! And then to continue the sweetness that should be in our lives in this moment as we transition from our busy week into Shabbat, we continue with our Kiddush, and that can be found on page 5.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava u'bratzon hinchilanu zikaron lemase v'reishit ki hayom techila lemikra'ei kodesh zecher letziat mitzrayim kivanu v'acharta v'yotanu kidashta mikol hamim v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava u'vratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat. Amen. Chaim.
Chaim and Jenny. I always say L'chaim and Jenny. I always say this. I went to school with 2 people named Chaim and Jenny, so we do it. We do it wherever you are, Chaim and Jenny, L'chaim and Jenny. So now that we have lit our Shabbat candles and we have sipped our wine to officially consecrate our Shabbat, we get to now officially enter Kabbalat Shabbat. We get to spend time with our Shabbat bride, like we talked about, to add to our joy and to add to our Shabbat. So we're going to continue now with Psalm 96. Which is on page 100, not 100. Nope, just kidding. We're going to continue with Psalm 96 on page 13, which is Shir Adonai.
Shir Adonai kol haaretz, Shir Adonai Shir Chadash. Sing unto God, all the earth, a new song. I will sing unto God a new song. Sing unto God, and we'll all sing along. All the earth, a new song unto God. Shir Adonai kol haaretz, Shir Adonai Shir Chadash. I will sing unto God a new song.
I messed up my Psalms. That was Psalm 98. So if you just wanted to have the correction, that was Psalm 98, not 96. My
was
apologies.
it still on page 13?
It was not on. It was on page 15 because it was a different Psalm. So I said page 13, but it was on page 15 because it was a different Psalm. Both, by the way, are available to enhance our Shabbat, and both are Shir Adonai because they are songs unto God. That was just a different one. This one I'm going to get right though, because this is the sort of conclusion of our Kabbalat Shabbat. and that is with this very interesting man whose name was Shlomo Halevi, who really liked the idea of Shabbat, really felt the connection to creating liturgy that would allow us to be with this Shabbat bride for these 25 hours or so. And he also wanted all of us to know his name forever. So he put his name into this prayer. So if you are looking at your prayer book, either the virtual one or the physical one on page 20 and 21, you'll see that Shlomo Halevi liked Lecha Dodi, and he put his name in there. So each paragraph is a letter of his name, and it spells out Shlomo Halevi. So he really, really liked this, like I said, the idea to be part of Kabbalat Shabbat. We're going to be doing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9, but while you're glancing at the text, you can see that he spelled out his name, Shlomo Halevi. We continue now, Lecha Dodi, page 20.
Shamor v'zachor b'diborecha yishmi'anu el hamiuchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad l'shem u'tiferet v'litila Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala Pnei Shabbat Nekamela Likrat Shabbat Lechu v'nelcha Ki Mekor HaBeracha Meirosh Mikedem Nesucha Sof Maseh B'machshava Techila Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala Pnei Shabbat Nekamela Hitoreri Ki va'orech kumi ori shir daberi kevod Adonai alayich nigla Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala Pnei Shabbat Nekamela Boi v'shalom Ateret Bala Gam b'simcha u'v'tzohla Tochem u'neyam segula Boi chala Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala Pnei Shabbat Nekabela Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala Pnei Shabbat Nekabela
With that, we have the full brunt of Kabbalat Shabbat has now entered in for us, and we already hope that you can feel a little bit different, a little bit calmer, a little bit of that week already gone, and now moving into Shabbat. With that, we're going to continue with Chatzi Kaddish, and that's on page 26.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, אמן. ועמד לברח קדותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון ויומייכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל. בגנה ובזמן קריב מימרו, אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם לא מהלמיה, יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי דקדשה בריחו לעילם מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, תמירן בעלמה ואמרו, Amen.
If we were together in our sanctuary, and God willing, we will be soon, we would stand together as we move into our call to worship. But since we are at home, it is up to you if you wish to stand or remain seated, your choice. We won't know, or will we? No, we won't know. So it is up to you whether you want to stand or sit. We continue with the Baruch Hu now, and that is on page 28.
Lai 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 lai. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Lai 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 lai.
We continue by thanking God for making night with Ma'ariv Aravim, Baruch Ata Adonai, Eloheinu melech ha'olam, asher bidvaro Ma'ariv Aravim, b'chokhma potach she'arim, ובתבונה משנה עיתים ומחליף את הזמנים, ומסדר את הכוכבים משמרותיהם ברקיע כרצונו, בורא יום ולילה, גולל אור מפני חושך וחושך מפני אור, ומעביר יום ומביא לילה, ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאות שמו, אל חי וקיים תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני המעריב ערבים. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on the evening. And before we enter into the Shema, we always like to do so with love in our hearts and with love on our lips and our connection to God. And so we continue on the bottom of page 33. Wisdom and wonder, passion and instruction, story and symbol, all these things your Torah gives to us. And the more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and gives. What could be a truer token of your abiding love than this holiest of your works, the living language that gives it form. Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael. We continue Shema, page 34-35.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto, Leolam Va'ed.
Continue with the V'ahavta on page 36.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Adonai Elohechem Emet. And so we're almost there, because between last week and this week, leading us into next week, we are finally going to be heading into our redemption. So get those ponchos ready for next week, because we have the Song of the Sea next week. So this week we have to get through the rest of the plagues, but then as we start to make our way to the sea, all of sort of next week until Shabbat for us to celebrate Shabbat Shirah, which will be next week. We want you to start thinking about what that will feel like, what that will look like. Maybe imagine yourselves getting closer and closer to the possibility of leaving Egypt, to leave bondage, and then next week, of course, to finally leave Egypt, be redeemed, be freed, and head towards that sea. And so the only way really to get there is by us holding hands, by us marching together, by us moving forward. And so keep that in the back of your mind now as we continue with Mi Chamocha, but then really particularly focus on Mi Chamocha next week, because that's the big one. It's going to be really, really fabulous. So this is just a little foreshadow to the exciting Mi Chamocha for next week. We continue now on page 40.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש. נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע ים לפני משה ומרים, זה עלינו ואמרו, זה עלינו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש. נורא עושה נורת עושה אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד.
I think that was a festive foreshadowing for next week. Don't you think? I think people should be ready.
I believe so, and if not,
Yeah.
they'd have this whole week to get there.
I know, no. I'm just saying, like, they should be getting in the mindset of finally you leaving Egypt and going through those walls of water. It's a big deal.
Oh yeah,
I know. All right. Now we're gonna begin to transition out of that. You're gonna have a lot more of that next week. Now we continue on page 43. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts. We may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai hapores sukat shalom aleinu v'al kol amo Yisrael v'al Yerushalayim. We continue with Hashkivenu on page 42.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom ve'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom ve'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim. L'shmor tzeitzenu uvoenu lechaim u'shalom me'ata ve'ad olam. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom ve'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom ve'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim.
We continue now with a piece of Torah, actually, and that is a piece of Torah from the book of Exodus that the rabbis in their brilliance who constructed our liturgy, who constructed our prayer books, thought it made sense perfectly to take this piece of text right from the Torah, put it right into our prayer book, right in this part in our prayer book, because it enhances and speaks of our Shabbat, on how we have to keep our Sabbath, on how we have to take care of it, how we have to work at it and make it into Shabbat. And so we continue with this beautiful piece of Torah that actually sits in our Siddur, which is a Bishamru, which is on page 44.
Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Shabbat לדורותם ברית עולם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת.
That's a tough one to sing. There's some changes in there. That was some good musical roller coastering in there. That was good.
Key changes, yeah.
There's a lot of key changes in there. That was serious.
One of my favorites.
Yeah. What? Really? What?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know you did a great job lip syncing while I was singing with the key changes, but it sounded really good.
You sounded amazing.
Yeah. There was a lot of key changes in there.
Yeah.
We're going to continue now with our Amidah. So once again, up to you if you would like to remain seated or stand wherever it is you are. We continue on page 46.
Adonai sifata tiftachu fiya ki tehiltecha Adonai open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei avoteinu v'imotenu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Ha'gibor ve'anora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim Ve'konei Hakol Ve'zocher Chasdei Avot ve'imahot U'mevii Geula livnei bneihem למען שמו באהבה מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני בחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם מכלכל חיים בחסד נופלים ורופא חולים ומשאיר אסורים ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומי דומה לך מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
We take some time now for our own silent prayers and thoughts and meditations, beginning here on page 52 and going through page 62. We continue with Shalom Rav on page 60.
Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. 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 Ki ata hu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Ki ata hu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov beinecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael bechol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam.
hopefully you were paying attention this week between starting off on Monday with Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial Day for us to remember MLK, and then the inauguration, and then of course that image, because we're in the middle of COVID, with all the flags and all the American flags that were everywhere, representing so many Americans who would have been there for the inauguration, and this idea of and this enhanced idea of freedom, and even though we're going through a challenging time, we still have our freedom. So I hope that none of that was lost on us in this very large week of how important it is to reflect on our freedom. And how interestingly this connects to our Torah portion, because if you are following along with what's going on in the book of Exodus, we're not that far into it. Last week we started it, and that was where the Israelites where the Israelites 2 weeks ago we started it. I apologize, and we find out that the Israelites are slaves, and then last week we get a series of plagues. We get there are 10 in total. We got 7 last week. We get 3 this week, and so there's a lot going on that ultimately there's that phrase we all know, "Let my people go." So interestingly, all this ties into our freedom and how this works this week. And I don't think it's a coincidence. I often don't think so, that the Torah portions fall where they fall and how they connect for us. And so here we are in the "Let my people go" section, where we still have these 3 plagues left falling on Egypt. And so we come to the Torah portion called Bo. Now, Bo means to come, or like come here. That's what Bo means. And it brings on these last 3 very, very difficult plagues: the locusts, the darkness, and the death of the firstborn. And ultimately, it's this warning from God, right, through Moses and Aaron, to Pharaoh, to say, listen, this is a big deal. We've been saying this over and over again, but it's time. It's time to let these Israelites go. And so, but what's interesting is the name. So I want to talk about the name of the Torah portion for a second, because Torah portions, they all have names. There are 54 of them, and each and every one have a name, and they're connected either to the first couple of words of the Torah portion, and then oftentimes they have some kind of connection within them that makes sense why they're called what they're called. They're sort of not haphazardly named. They have some various connection, all of our Torah portions. And so Bo is an interesting one, because like I said, it means like come, or come here. And it's interesting because as we start off the Torah portion, it says that Moses comes to Pharaoh. It doesn't say that he goes to Pharaoh. It doesn't say lech. It says bo. It doesn't say Moses goes to Pharaoh to have the dialogue. It says Moses comes to Pharaoh. And the dialogue, of course, here the rabbis are discussing the grammatical interesting part of this. Why does it not say goes to and says comes to? And so it's, according to the commentaries, it's perhaps a little bit deeper than just this physical presence and world that we're talking about. Maybe it's a little more intricate and a little more personal. So clearly, I'll let my people go, and this Israelites leaving, probably around 1.2 million people ultimately leaving Egypt and wandering, like we talked about next week, and getting to the sea, is huge. It's about peoplehood and nationhood and about the Israelites. But perhaps also this bo, this word of bo, is also a little more intricate. It's a little quieter. Maybe it's a little more personal. In fact, the Zohar, which is a Jewish text, it is the core text, actually, if you want to study Kabbalah, if you've heard of Kabbalistic stuff, you would use this core text of the Zohar. So the Zohar goes in to examine this idea of coming to Pharaoh. right? That Moses doesn't go to Pharaoh, Moses comes to Pharaoh. And in coming to Pharaoh, perhaps there's a confrontation that happens that's a little quieter and a little more powerful. Meaning, because if you come to someone and not go to someone, there's a little difference of a nuance there. When you come to someone, it's almost like coming and sitting down and kneeling next to them and like sort of being next to them, maybe speaking softly. That means when you come to someone. And so perhaps it's bigger than just, smaller than this just big presentation of Moses showing up. That it's this intricate conversation that Moses has with Pharaoh to say, listen, it's not going to end well. We've talked to you about this let my people go thing, and you're not listening. And maybe this grandioseness of it exists clearly at some level, but also there's this choice of word that's not goes to, but comes to Pharaoh. And so in this request almost, Moses asks Pharaoh to sort of relieve the shackles of the Israelites. When he goes, there's a sort of peripheral, fully presence that comes towards Pharaoh. And in doing so, perhaps there's a mindset change for Pharaoh also. Now, clearly there are plagues there, right? There are plagues. But this moment might have been, and some commentary says, that when Moses comes to Pharaoh and says, Bo, comes to him, that this was the first step towards liberation, actually. That this was the first step that brought Pharaoh to think to himself, okay, this is getting to be serious. And then there are 3 more plagues. And so, and here's the switch. And here's what the Zohar wants. Here's what sort of the sort of deep depth of Jewish text wants us to go with this, is that maybe it's not just about this one moment. Maybe it's about how we sort of come to things in our lives. That is it that we just go to things and just kind of show up haphazardly, or can we come to things in our lives in a different way, in a softer way? Can we look at our own fears or insecurities a little differently? Can we come to someone who we're talking to and check on them and do so in a softer way and not in that sort of grandiose, I'm going to you, but instead of I'm coming to see you, and there's a different feel to that. And so when he comes to Pharaoh and doesn't go to Pharaoh, there's a different meeting that perhaps takes place. And so the experience that is created there, hopefully we can carry with us also. This experience where we can look at these nuances and these moments in our lives in coming to them in a different way, in a different light, in what's going on around us, with our families, with what's happening, that we can come to them differently. And so by doing so, we can change our experiences. We can change our pain, our frustrations, our insecurities. We can explore our feelings. We can validate our challenges a little bit better, perhaps. And we can get through and face our obstacles a little bit differently if we sort of reframe how we're looking at things. And so only after we have like fully understood this, after we've understood this transference of not going but coming to someone or coming to something, once we've fully understood it, and once we've sort of understood this sort of this oppression that we might be on us, this almost enslavement to how we function, we can sort of let go of, and then we can then only step forward to move towards our resolutions and resolving ourselves. So not only can we look at this particular Shabbat, looking at all the big, grandiose, important freedoms that we celebrated this past week, but we can also perhaps look at some freedoms we can create for ourselves when we transfer that language from going somewhere to coming closer to ourselves. Shabbat Shalom. We are going to continue now with thinking of those in our community who are in need of healing a physical, emotional, or a spiritual healing. And so we think of those in our community who are in need of any of those types of healing. Again, the physical, the emotional, or the spiritual ones. We think of Al Jacobson and Addison Sullivan, Ali Pedrides, Andrea Drucker, Anthony Gian Tommaso, Arnold Plotsky, Arnold Postelnik, Barbara Pollock, Barbara Seidman, Barry Mincer, Bernard Lipsitz, Bobby Ross, Carol and Elliot Porowich, Carol Leader, Chana Bat David, Charlotte Kammer, Chava Leah Bat Esther, Claire Weiss, Craig Nissenwitz, Daria Levin, David Hornstein, David Schwartz, David Weinacht, David Winterfeld, Dr. Dennis Penzel, Diraj Nayal, Diane Spiro, Diego Liebman, Don Rubin, Eric Smith, Gary Bandel, Gloria Bernstein, Gloria Plotsky, Glynis Lowe, Harry Blecker, Heshi Glatt, Ina Stanley, Ira Dembro, Ara Kafka, Irv Hurwitz, Jacqueline Gould, James Bowden, Jay Siskin, J.C. Villar, Jennifer Kirstein Curry, John Zinn, Jordan Stein, Karen Coles, Catherine Carly, Lauren Kaplan, Marcy Cheryl, Masha Zelda, Bat Elia, Margot Engel, Marilyn Mincer, Mark Samarel, Marlene Leiker, Martin Springer, Marty Blecker, Marty Coucher, Melissa Schaffner, Michael Linder, Michael Rogers, Morris Ginsburg, Myron Kahn, Naomi Kirstein, Nicole McKevitt, Norma Friel, Paula Fro, Paulette Howard, Rachel Glatt, Richard Levine, Robert Grande, Robert Solomon, Roberta Katz, Ronald Friedman, Rana Young, Ronnie Horn, Sarah Greenberg, Shirley Kafka, Stephen Gilbert, Stephen Kirstein, Stephen Lauren, Sue Ellen Wexler, Tammy Werner, Trip Ravenfeld, Walter Horowitz, Wendy Paskin, Valerie Levin Franklin, Malka Peril, Bats Naftali, Vebela, Al Smith, Joe Latham. To those names, we had any name that you would like to add at this time, please do so in our chat as we continue with Misha Berach on page 253.
Misha Berach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mi shebeirach imotenu mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Some announcements for us on this fine Shabbat evening. Of course, February 4th is our 36th anniversary online auction. If you have not registered for our auction yet, please do so. Participation will help raise critical funds needed to support our 2021 relief fund. So please, it's going to be really fun and fabulous. All kinds of great things that are being auctioned off. It costs nothing to register. In fact, I believe once you register, you are eligible to win a gift card just by registering. So you should definitely do that for sure. Also, please help to donate and support our little free pantry. You can drop off any of those donations in the admin circle on Mondays from 9:30 to 10:30. There are also a bunch of youth events coming up, so please make sure you check our youth calendar. For all ages, there are awesome youth events. I believe starting this Sunday, you can still jump in on them. And then, of course, there are some other really cool things coming up, like what's that holiday with where you dress up and there's like you like eat those cookies with the triangle. What are those things? Purim. Yes, Purim. Cantor Muchnik, you want to talk a little about Purim?
It's going to be fun. It will be virtual, of course. And if you ever wanted to hear some of your favorite modern today's country music sung by your clergy, you won't want to miss this one.
It's going to be awesome.
And also next Friday is Shabbat Shira, and there's going to be a very musical premiere for our Friday night services.
Also, we're going to be treating Purim. Well, the information is not fully out yet, but you're going to be the first to know. We're treating Purim more than just one day. It's going to be kind of an extravaganza of Purim with all kinds of events happening for the weeks leading up to Purim itself. So lots of information coming out about that. And also, please just stay tuned to all of our weekly our weekly pieces of information, because there's actually a ton going on right now. Even though we're virtual, lots of opportunities to do a lot of really fabulous things. And in the not too distant future is also Mitzvah Day is coming up. That's on March 7th. So lots of really great opportunities for us to participate with one another. And there may be even around the beginning of Purim, an opportunity for us to come together physically for a Havdalah service. So the more information to come on that too, in our courtyard under our new tent, of course, physically distant and masks and all that stuff. But that might be coming up too. So lots of fun upcoming things for us. And then of course we just can't wait to be out of the Zoom world and be closer to everyone. So of course we hope that everyone is being healthy and safe so that we can move this along as fast as humanly possible. We're going to begin to end our service together with Aleinu, which can be found on page 282.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשינו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגור עלינו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai l'melech al kol haaretz. Bayom hahu, yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo, echad.
We transition our thoughts now to Kaddish Yatom, to Mourner's Kaddish. We think of those in the immediate 7-day mourning period, in the period of Shiva, Jerry Lee and Bernice Maslin. And in our period of Shloshim, the immediate 30-day mourning period, Jacob Butzi. And our yortzites that occur for us on this Shabbat. Stanley Banach, Neil Borg, Sylvia Casper, Charles Cohn, Helen Condon, Doris Diamond, Francis Dworkin, Isidore Fearing, Joyce Fearing, Riva Gertrude Feidler, Morris Gare, Tracy Gare, Kurzweil, Claire Gersup, Leonard Golden, Herbert Greenblatt, Eleanor Haas, Edmund Hardoon, Maurice Harrington, Dorothy Hornreich, Pearl Jaffe, Herbert Kimmelman, Ira Kleinrock, Alex Krimsky, Anita Marks, Edith Michelson, Max Morris, Billy Pollock, Ralph Posner, Edith Rolnick, Julius Rosen, Edith Rothschild, Ernest L. Rothschild, Mildred, Rudolph, Lillian Schwartz, Julian Silvers, Manny Skolnick, Ruben Sonnenstein, Stanley Watsky, Aaron Wender, Joyce Wolpert, Mildred Zeruchis. To those names, we had any name that you would like to add, of course, to our YouTube. And now we continue with Kaddish Yatom, with Mourner's Kaddish, page 294. Itgadal v'kadash me'rabah, ba'ama divra chirutei ve'amlich malchutei, b'chayechon v'yomechon b'chay dechol beit Israel, b'agala v'zman karei ve'emru, amen. שמי רבה מבורך לעולם עולמי עולמיה, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתעלה, שמי לקודשה בריחו, לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. שלמה רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. V'imru, amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel. As together we say, amen. We're going to conclude today with Tfilat HaDerech. Is that right, Cantor Muchnick?
Yes, it is.
Okay, I think that we have a page for that too. Let's see if I can quickly find a page for Tfilat HaDerech. I bet we can do it. Oh, here it is. It's on page 260 if you want to follow along with us. 260.
May we go on our way. May we be guided in peace. May we be blessed with health and joy. May this be our blessing. Amen. 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 May this be our blessing. Amen. 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 May this be our blessing. Amen. May we be sheltered by the wings of peace. May we be kept in safety and in love. May grace and compassion find a way to every soul. May this be our blessing. Amen. 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 May this be our blessing. Amen. 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 May this be our blessing. Amen.
Adonai oz la'amo yiten. Adonai v'rech atamo v'shalom. May God give strength unto our people. Continue to bless us with hope and strength and love and peace and a wonderful, healthy and happy Shabbat. Everyone stay healthy and safe. Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Shabbat shalom, everyone. Shabbat shalom, Rabbi.
Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom.